falling star. When you make a wish, ooh, just remember luck is no such thing. One man succeeds while another man fails. Why is it then you ask the stars up above, the planets of light, who controls your very soul? From the beginning of birth and throughout eternity, that's the stars up above. Just ask them. Ooh, just ask them. The planets of light, who controls your very soul?
Hi, this is Z Starman, host of Astrology Numerology Now, with a special edition of Astrology Numerology Now, focusing on the entrance of Jupiter into the sign of Sagittarius. Jupiter will be entering Sagittarius on November 8th, 2018, and it will remain in Sagittarius until December 2nd, 2019. Now, Jupiter stays in the sign for about a year, and it takes Jupiter 12 years to make a complete trip around the zodiac. So this is its first time back in the sign of Sagittarius, its ruling sign, for the first time since 2007. The last time Jupiter was in the sign of Sagittarius was from 2006 to 2007. A little bit about Jupiter before we tell you what this means for all 12 signs of the zodiac. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Jupiter is about 1,300 times bigger than the Earth. So we can stick about 1,300 Earths inside of Jupiter, and Jupiter has about 60 moons. But in traditional astrology, Jupiter is called the great benefit because it's beneficial, it brings luck, it brings abundance, it brings joy, and it brings lots of happiness, especially when it's transiting through the sign of Sagittarius. So let's quickly run through what the meaning of Jupiter is through all 12 signs of the zodiac. Now, there are two ways to look at this. If you know your sun sign, mostly everyone knows their sun sign, or if you know your rising sign. So let's get started. If you're a Sagittarius, or if you have Sagittarius rising sign, Jupiter is going to be transiting through your first house. The first house is the house of physical self. It's about who you are and who you show to the other people and who you show to the rest of the world. It rules the physical self. So a lot of people with Sagittarius rising, this is going to be a happy moment for them. It's going to be lots of love, lots of optimism, lots of new horizons for Sagittarius people, because your ruling planet has returned back home. Imagine if you were a person and you went away for 12 years and you finally came back home. The joy and the jubilance of coming back home. So Jupiter is coming back home to the sign of Sagittarius. And again, if you're a Sagittarius or your Sagittarius rising sign, this is going to be in your first house. Up next, if you're a Scorpio, or if you have Scorpio rising sign, Jupiter in Sagittarius will be transiting through your second house, your house of money, your house of possessions. And again, Jupiter is 1,300 times bigger than the Earth, and wherever Jupiter is the great benefit. The great benefits energy will be in your house of money. It'll be in your house of possessions and material things. You'll want more. You'll probably take on more business things, more financial things than you've ever done before. But the windows of opportunity of money, wealth, and wealth gathering personal things will be in order for those with Scorpio rising sign. So if you got Scorpio rising sign, like my son Zotrick, if you're watching, this is a great time to make money, and to build your financial portfolio. If you have Libra rising or if you're a Libra who doesn't know their rising sign, or if you have Libra rising, this transit will be transiting through your third house, your house of brothers and sisters, your house of communication. I suggest all Libras, or if you have Libra rising sign, to open up communication with family members, take little short trips. It's going to be a lot of reaching out to brothers, sisters, and also the third house is the house of communication, which rules the sign of Gemini. So it's about writing. A lot of Libras who are out there, try to write your stories and tell your stories with this transit of Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, and it's transiting, or like the transit authority, it's moving through your third house. Reach out to brothers and sisters and take little short vacations and junkets. Now, if you're a Virgo, and if you have Virgo, or if you have Virgo rising sign, this transit of Jupiter in Sagittarius will be transiting through your fourth house, or at the bottom of your chart. And Jupiter works very well when it's transiting through the fourth house. And again, if you have Virgo, or if you have Virgo rising sign, the fourth house is the house of family, it's the house of women. A lot of you may want to buy new homes and new houses with Jupiter in the fourth house, or Jupiter in Sagittarius transiting through the fourth house. It's great for working with other women. If you have Virgo rising or Virgo sun sign, Jupiter will be transiting through the fourth house, and it's a great time to get in touch with your spiritual side and think about end-of-life issues. But it's a great time to buy a home if you have Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, or Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, and it's transiting through your natal fourth house. Up next, if you have Leo sun sign or Leo rising sign, Jupiter will be transiting through your fifth house, your house of romance, your house of creativity. This is a great time for all Leo people, house of children. Try your luck at the casino, because wherever Jupiter is, it expands things. A lot of romances, a lot of paramours, a lot of creative energy, because Leo is about creativity also. So if you're a Leo and you have Leo rising sign, Jupiter is transiting through your natal fifth house. Go out and have some fun. Go out and have some romance with the transit of Jupiter getting bigger in your fifth house. If you are a Cancer, or if you have Cancer rising sign, Jupiter, I'm just checking my notes here, Jupiter will be transiting through your sixth house, your house of health, wellness, a lot of with Jupiter, again, it sheds light, and it brings light to health and wellness awareness with Jupiter transiting through the sixth house. It's about work. So a lot of you will be put in positions of responsibility, having great relationships with your subordinates at work and at work. But the key focus is, if you're a Cancer, and if you're going through anything with health and wellness, seek a holistic approach and seek a spiritual approach, because Jupiter is about spiritualness, it's about higher energy, higher force, and it's a great benefit. I'm looking forward to Jupiter in Sagittarius this time around. If you're a Cancer and you have Cancer rising sign, now it's the time to build your health. This is Z Starman, and we're talking about the transit of Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius from November 8th, 2016 to December 2nd, 2016. Up next, if you're a Gemini, or if you have Gemini rising sign, this transit will be through your seventh house. With Gemini transit in the seventh house, a lot of business. I'm looking forward to this because I have Gemini sun sign and Gemini rising sign. So if you're a Gemini with Gemini sun sign, Gemini rising sign, this transit is going to come through your seventh house. the house of businessship, the house of married. Maybe I'll get married with Jupiter in the sign of 7th house. But Jupiter in the 7th house brings out a lot of business. As I said in my live television show earlier tonight, that my media career started with Jupiter being in the sign of Sagittarius all the way back in 2006, which was the last time Jupiter is in the sign of Sagittarius. Look where I am now. But it's about partnerships. It's about forming partnerships in communications. And it's about forming partnerships with people who are of like mind or who you can communicate with Gemini rising sign. And the 7th house also rules open enemies. So I'm Gemini, being aware of all your haters with this transit in the 7th house. It's also great, once again, for forming great business partnerships and relationships. Up next, if you're a Taurus or you have Taurus rising sign, this transit is going to be in your 8th house, the house of other people's money, the house of death and transformation. So Jupiter will be signing its benefic energies in this house. A lot of you will have to deal with transitions, people passing away, people dying, dealing with wills and legacies. With the 8th house, which is the ruler of Scorpio, it deals with other people's money. So go out and get a loan. You can get a loan, get a corporate loan. But its legacy is about total transformation. So we all have to go through the end of life stuff. But with Taurus, it's a great time for using other people's money. Get a credit card, a new credit card, get a loan, get that mortgage for your new home with the transit of Jupiter in the 8th house. If you're a Taurus or if you have Taurus rising sign. Up next, we've got a couple of more signs to go. Up next, if you're an Aries. If you're an Aries or if you have Aries rising sign, the transit of Jupiter in Sagittarius will be through your 9th house. So there's a lot of Aries people who will be dealing with this transit, and the 9th house deals with higher mind, higher education. It deals with long distance travel. The 9th house is the natural house for the sign of Sagittarius. So if you're a Aries, take a trip. Go back to school. Go for that graduate degree. Go for that doctorate. But it's also good with dealing with people from other parts of the world. With Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, the 9th house also rules religion and higher mind. So a lot of people out there will turn to religion for an alternative mean and answer to the things that are going on in their life with Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius. Up next, if you're a Pisces, or if you have Pisces rising sign, this transit of Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius will be in your 10th house, all the way at the very top of your chart. Great time for career moves, great time to put your name out there in front of the public, a lot of honors. If you want to change that job or change your career, because again, the 10th house rules careers, it's about making those moves because it'll put a spotlight on who you are from a career point of view, a career standing point of view, with Jupiter transiting through your 10th house. Change your job, change your career. If you're in the performing arts, let people know who you are. But you will be brought before the public if you have a Pisces sun sign or Pisces rising sign. This is one of the best places for Jupiter to be when it's transiting through your 10th house. We've got a couple more signs to go, but up next is the sign of Aquarius. If you're an Aquarius or you have Aquarius rising sign, this transit will be through your 11th house. The 11th house in astrology is the house of friends, hopes, wishes, higher organizations. If you're an Aquarius, this transit again, or if you have an Aquarius rising sign, this transit will be in your 11th house. The 11th house is symbolic of working with large sums of people, large groups, large organizations. Expand your horizons. And again, it rules hopes, wishes, and desires. So if you're working for like a small company, now it's time to step up and work for those large companies like NBC, CBS, ABC, all those corporate companies. Now it's time to step up in your game, and Jupiter in Sagittarius will bring you out into the open with a lot of big organizations, because that's what the 11th house is. It's about hopes, wishes, desire, and huge organizations if you're an Aquarius or Aquarius rising sign. Last but not least, if you're a Capricorn. If you're a Capricorn and you have Capricorn rising sign in your astrology chart, this transit is going to be in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of self-undoing. A lot of Capricorns, they're going to have to get away. You're going to have to get away from people in order to get your life and to get yourself together with this transit in the 12th house. The 12th house rules hospitals. The 12th house rules prisons. The 12th house rules solitude. So a lot of Capricorn people and those with Capricorn rising sign will benefit from just getting away from it all, taking a sabbatical, understanding what life really means and what it's all about. The 12th house also rules incarcerations. The 12th house rules hospitals. The 12th house is trying to not be your own worst enemy and just not to like make people sick of you if you're a Capricorn or have Capricorn rising sign. But it's time to get away from people with Jupiter in the 12th house. Some of your good luck will be being alone and by yourself. That's about all the time that we have for Jupiter's transit in Sagittarius through the houses. If you want to know exactly how these transits will affect you, we're sort of kind of generalizing here, but if you want astrology and numerology information regarding the transit of Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, you can find me on Facebook at Z-Starman. You can find me on Twitter at Z-Starman. You can find me at Instagram on Z-Starman. But the quickest and fastest way to get in touch with me, if you want an astrology, numerology reading to understand the meaning of Jupiter and Sagittarius in your chart, give me a call. 646-389-1311. I want to thank my executive producer and director, Dietrich Kelsey, Josie Ann Hurd, our technical director, and Stan the Man Mitchell, our audio person, for making this episode of Astrology Numerology Now happen. This is Z-Starman saying happy Jupiter in Sagittarius, wishing you peace, love, light, namaste.
Ooh, the planet of life. Virgo is known for versatility, while Taurus for persistency. Get Aries to be very, very ambitious. Libra, the cheerful and merry one.
Pisces, you fish. You are a romanticist, constantly striving to escape from reality into the blessed land of your dreams.
Whatever your sign may be, look to the stars for happiness and love. Aquarius, tolerant view of people will always let the sun shine in.